Everybody, welcome back to Omens. I'm your host Ryan, AM air pronouns, and it's the middle of August by the time you're seeing this. Not for me, but yep, lost my train of thought. Didn't know where I was going to take that. Okay, that track was short. Anyway, it is, well, probably about the 15th, maybe later, whenever the hell you're watching this. And we're going to dive into, the astrological sign of Leo, which by the time you see this will probably be ending later this week. 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 22. No, next week. Or Saturday or Sunday. Usually one of those 2 days. 21st to 22nd is about the time. 20th to 23rd is about the time every sign switches over, so cool. Wow. Sometimes the 19th, I think. Either way, it's still Leo season, so we're going to talk about Leo. Leo is the fifth sign of the zodiac, and therefore it rules over the fifth house of the zodiac, of the natal chart, I should say. It is a fixed fire sign, midsummer to it's the midsummer / midwinter sign. Wow. Sorry, trying to look something up. How was this? Because of course I forgot to freaking write this down. How dare I? Alright. It's midsummer / midwinter sign because in the northern hemisphere it's the middle of summer, in the southern hemisphere it's the middle of winter. And the astrological signs don't change depending on the hemisphere. It's the same all over across the globe. Though I did see something, somebody did create sort of a global chart in a way to, as their recommendation is to actually switch signs, or like create basically 6 astrological signs. No, I think it would still be 12. They didn't explain that part very well, but it'd basically be like if you were born in what we would usually call Aries season, you'd be an Aries Libra as opposed to just an Aries, because yeah. And I guess if you're born on the opposite side where it'd be a Libra season, you'd be a Libra Aries maybe. It was an interesting concept. I will take that. It's a very interesting. I want to dive a little bit more into sidereal astrology, which is astrology based on the actual physical movement of the stars, which is different from tropical, where it's like, okay, Plato was like, okay, look, shit's moving, but it's getting too confusing, so let's just set everything and just leave it like that. Which, if you pay attention to the way stuff actually moves and the energies move and how people act, tropical astrology does work energetic-wise, and I think it's because we've put so much into this time to this time is Aries season. This time to this time is Leo season. Not this time to this time is Aries, next year it'll be this time to this time, and then this time to this time, and so on and so forth, which is what sidereal astrology focuses on. Like, okay, where are things in the sky astronomically, as opposed to just where we imagine they are still. Which is fascinating in and of itself, and I think it adds a little bit more flavor to the energies because it's like an actual physical movement of the energies. But like, you can't tell me that I'm like, say, like if we added in that 13th astrological sign of, or that 13th constellation of Apocais, I believe it was. I ain't a Virgo, honey. I ain't a fucking Virgo. It's just, nah. I think I would have been, if we were going by that, I would probably be a Virgo. I'm like, no. No, I'm not. At all. Nope. And a lot of other people like that too. So it's like because as a collective, we tend to, our minds are very powerful, and how we think of things actually creates their being in existence to a degree. It's a weird matchup of, is it was already like chicken and the egg scenarios. Was it already like this and we just noticed it and then we kept it that way because we're like, latched onto it that way. I think it's a little bit more like that. It's like it started kind of like this. It started by itself. Like, okay, during this time, things tend to be like this. And we're like, okay, well, this makes sense. Our ancestors were like, okay, during this time, things to be like this. And they passed that on. And slowly it grew over. And even though things shifted physically, we're still like, it's not over here that things tend to be like this. It's over here that things tend to be like this. So the world's like, okay, everything will be like this, at this time, no matter the fact that the actual reasoning for that has slowly moved. Which is why we still follow tropical astrology for actual, like, readings and stuff, and it's because it works, and it still works, and it has worked, it still works, and it continues to work as long as we leave it. But sidereal astrology, the actual watching the movement of things, I think adds a fascinating flavor that I want to dive more into. But enough of all that. We're in Leo season. Alright, so anyway, where was I? Midsummer/winter sign, approximately July 21st to August 20th. It is a day or an inhale sign, so it's energized, full of stuff, moving, bright, full, let's go. That more, I keep wanting to say, it's not aggressive, it's something else. Juvenated? Not rejuvenated, juvenated, like jubial energy, that just more jubial, active is the word I'm looking for. More active energy. And just full of itself. It's ruled by the sun. It's ruled by the sun. That is the sun's sign. All that bright, beautiful, hot energy in every sense of the word. Bleh. Well, maybe not. I know your rising sign has to do more with what you look like, so... what does a rising usually look like? No. Not my type of hot, but, you know. Either way, it's somebody's type of hot, so... And, I mean, I can't talk. I really don't have much of a type of hot besides aesthetic, so... It only comes in part of the world. Wow, I'm suddenly hyper. Very hyper. Okay, anyway. You know, maybe I'm just calling in some of this energy. I think I do that. Alright. Ruled by the sun. So, bright, shiny, gotta be the center of the universe type deal. Or the center of the solar system, anyway. Not the center of the universe. It is associated with the metal gold. Gold is its metal. Big surprise. Stones associated with the sign of Leo, pretty much anything that's gold or amber colored. So like pyrite, amber, go figure, which isn't really a stone, but we'll get into that later because that is going to be the stone we're working on today. So any stone that's kind of gold, amber, shiny, pretty stones, basically. Medical astrology wise, which not actual medical advice, disclaimer. I think I was supposed to put disclaimer first. Especially since I'm not a medical personnel and I don't even practice medical astrology. I'm just giving you this associations. So, that said, Leo rules the heart, spine, and upper back. So, generally speaking, or anecdotally speaking, I suppose, if your sun sign's in Leo or Leo's strong in your chart, or usually if it's your sun sign, you might have more problems with your heart or your spine or your upper back that you got to pay more attention to. I know, like me as a Libra, I tend to need to be very conscious of my kidneys. If I don't drink enough water or cranberry juice, they get sore very quickly. And my lower back is always in pain, even when I don't feel it, apparently. Because my sister has learned empathic touch. And she touched me at one point and she's like, God, are you having trouble with your back? I'm like, not at the moment. She's like, it just hurts all across. I was like, no, that's just regular. I'm like, no, I'm not feeling much more pain than what's normal for now. And she's like, that fucking hurts. I'm like, okay. Good to know that my low level don't even notice that pain is apparently very, very painful for somebody who doesn't deal with it constantly. Fascinating. Anyway, yes, I am hyper as all fuck. What the hell? I was just really calm and chill, and then I started talking about Leo, and now I'm hyper. Ugh. Ugh. Okay. So, that is the Leo rules, parts of the body that Leo rules. Its polarity sign, its opposite/opposing sign is Aquarius, so whereas Leo is very self-centric, Aquarius is very community-centric type deal. So polarity means they're opposites, but they're also two sides of the same coin, so they struggle against and also enhance and uplift each other. So that's the polarity. So that's why I bring the polarities up. As the 5th house ruler, the 5th house has to do with, let me bring this up. I wish they put numbers. Romance, children, fun, and creativity. So, yeah, romance, love affairs, play, creativity, fertility, childlike spirit, joy, self-expression, drama. Yeah. I know a couple Leos who are very dramatic. Yeah. Leos are dramatic. In their own different ways. But, yeah. Anyway. So, the 5th house has to do with when astrologers look at your natal chart, the 5th house is where they go to look for what your romance is going to be like. How childish are you, or how many children might you even have? Like, what influence do children have in your life type deal, or childishness has in your life. What your romantic prospects look like. How do you love type deal. And what's your self-expression type deal? That's where you can go in your chart to kind of get a little bit of a feel for the blueprints of that. But yeah. So fixed fire, so fiery, passionate energy, but it's fixed, steady, strong, steady, boxed in, not quite boxed in, but it's structured. It doesn't like to move. Fixed signs don't like to move and change unless they want to. So they can be a little bit bullheaded. Think Taurus, it's a fixed sign. And, do you know, Leo is also, who's the other fixed signs? Taurus, Gemini, Cancer, Leo, Virgo, Libra, Scorpio. Nope, Scorpio is not a big animal. I was going to say, are they all big animals? No, they're not. Aquarius is a person. Okay, but anyway, you get kind of that stubbornness, bullheaded, close to itself, doesn't really want to change unless it wants to. Yeah. Those with their sun sign in Leo, or their Leo is their sun sign, are leaders, born to shine and charm. They like to be in charge. They like to be the ones charming people. They like to be in charge and be not quite center of attention socially, like all attention on them, but they just like to make sure that they have attention. They're not being forgotten. They're not being left on the side. They're not wallflowers. Let's see. One of my brothers is a Leo, and he is very much take charge. He gets into stuff. He gets on it. He is in charge. He knows all his stuff. And the other thing is, not only does he act like he knows all this stuff, in my brother's case, he actually will go out and learn all this stuff. And he will frickin' know it. And he will give you the rules by the book. He's a little shy, but not much. It's more like kind of awkward until he gets comfortable. But he still is, if somebody brings up something he knows, he's going to start on it. And this is something he shares in common with one of my friends who's a Leo, who also has that thing where they're really shy. They don't like to be the center of attention, but they like to make sure they know they're included. And if something comes up that they know about, they're going to jump in there. And Leos are loud. Lions, not as loud as tigers, but Leos are loud, from what I've found so far. Is they like to be the maybe not quite the center of attention, but they're going to grab as much attention as they are comfortable with and draw it in, and they don't like losing any of it. Mildly annoying. I love them, but they're mildly annoying. I love them. mildly annoying. Alright. Anyway, so they tend to be a little bit melodramatic and superior when they're in their shadow. When they're in their unhealthy aspects, they're like, oh god, woe is me. They just don't like me. And yeah, they can be melodramatic. Like I said, I know two of them, and I'm just starting to realize how extremely similar they are. Maybe it's just that Leo part where it's sunny, it's pure, it's the sun, the center of the solar system. Gotta be there. It's the strongest energy, I guess. And and basically in their shadow they can be melodramatic and they can be a little superior. Like, I'm better than you. I know more than you, and they might not always mean to come across that way. Even that just can sort of be put out there. It's like, I'm the biggest thing in this solar system. Well, to apply the analogy to the sun again, I'm the biggest thing in the solar system, so of course I'm a little bit more superior. Duh. Guys, I love them. Swear I love them. Irritating. I love them. They can be. I've known 3 Leos in my life. My brother, one friend, and a former / still kind of friends. I mean, we're friends on Facebook. My first friend in high school was also a Leo, and yeah. Yeah, he was like this too. Gods. Dear fucking gods. They can be a bit much to deal with, I'll put it that way. I guess they can just be a lot, and it's just because their personalities and who they are is just full. They're big. They're kind of full, and not so much full of themselves. I mean, they can be, obviously, very much so. But they're also full of heart, because the sun it's the heart of the solar system. As much as they might be a little bit like, oh my god, shut the fuck up on occasion, they do it from a place of love. Like, they work from their hearts. So communication's key. Like it is with all things, but at the same time, it's like communication is very much key to dealing with Leos. If you are kind of like, oh my god, I know a Leo, and holy shit, I cannot be anywhere near them. They drive me nuts, and I can't get 3 words in edgewise. Yeah, I know. Been there, dealt with that times 3. That was a 6. 3. Yeah, they can be a lot, but they just are a lot. And it's got its downsides and it's got its upsides. Just like with how, as a Libra, I've got my upsides of I'm loving and I like to keep the peace, but I've got my downsides of I'm wishy-washy and I will kind of like, I don't even know. But, you know, the term social butterfly is more accurate than social. Everybody's got their flaws. And the big part of it is just learning to work with them. And I think I'm telling this more to myself than maybe all the rest of you, but hey, no, who knows? It's coming up because it is Leo season, so I've got to deal with all of these people. Or 2 of them. I don't really deal with the 3rd anymore, but yeah. Anyway. At their best, they're magnetic and affectionate, lighting up the world around them. So, you know, again, they're just big balls of sunlight. Yeah. I don't know, how do you describe a Leo? They're the sun. They're the frickin' sun. They're the fucking sun. They're bright, they're wonderful, they're warm, they're magnetic, they're charming. They will also burn the fuck out of you. And they can be, too much of them can be a lot, too much to handle. You might have to take them in small doses, depending on how much sunlight you can handle. For example, one of my sisters she's technically a Libra, but she identifies more with her Scorpio rising than most anything else. Just like I know a Capricorn friend who identifies more as a Sagittarius because she's on the cusp, and honey, you a Capricorn. But anyway, well, no, maybe not. I don't know. But anyway, it's like how some people, and my sister being more identifiable, identifying with more with her Scorpio side. My friend who's a Leo and our brother can be, she wants to strangle them. She is deep ocean, they are big ball of light. It doesn't click very well. She needs small doses of Leos. Me, I can handle slightly larger doses. Because I've got balance and my rising is a Sagittarius, so yay, fire. Famous people who are Leos: Barack Obama, Bill Clinton, Madonna, of course, and James Baldwin, who for some reason is so gosh darn familiar, and I cannot for the life of me remember who he actually is at the moment. Pretty sure he might be an author. But anyway, alright, those with their rising sign in Leo, kind of the same deal. They're magnetic. They light up any room they enter, making an immediate impression. They can be dramatic, demonstrative, regal, loud, commanding. They might dress for attention. Like, they just want to be bright and in the center. And in their less positive aspects, they can get bossy and throw tantrums. But because they are big kids at heart, so that comes with the good and the bad of childhood. And for those, their world revolves around them. Physical feature-wise, they tend to be kind of have that lion's mane head of hair, like it's all kind of fluffy and just round. They got a sunny round face, and they're bright and smiley and too much. No. Famous people who have their rising sign in Leo are Muhammad Ali, Tina Turner, Meryl Streep, and George W. Bush. I don't know what that was even for. I get hyped up on the astrological signs. But anyway, so that's Leo. Big, sunny, full, way too freaking hot here in Arizona. God, let's turn the sun down some. Ugh. Actually, you know what? Turn off the atmosphere some. That'll help. Alright, so the constellation of Leo is visible in the night sky as a spring constellation. It's during the spring it's actually visible in the night sky. The sun is actually... Leo is behind the sun around this time. It's just for a short amount of days, not the whole 30 days, but, you know, tropical versus sidereal. Alright, whatever that. In approximately 6,000 to 3,000 BC, it was a summer constellation that coincided with summer solstice, so ergo the sun connection. Wait. It's confuzzled. Alright. You know what? The tarot, no. The Star Magic by Sandra Kynes is really good, but it can also be slightly confusing to try to figure out, because we put the sun in the zodiac sign when the sun constellation is behind the sun, so ergo during the day it's rising. So if it's a spring constellation at night, then the fact that it used to be a summer constellation, possibly also at night, then why the hell would it still be associated with summer? Because it should be when it wasn't. So it must have been rising with the sun, or the sun was behind it. I guess it used to be a summer constellation where the sun was behind, where it was behind this. It was up during the day as opposed to at night. I think that's what this means. But damn, it can be confusing. But it coincided with the summer solstice and with the flooding of the Nile. So that got it to be associated with fertility, which, again, with the 5th house, that's also kind of your fertility house. Forgot to mention that. And because it coincided with all of that, it gave it its status as a protective deity of sacred water and land fertility. So it's like this constellation is all about the fertility of the land, and it's protective, and Yeah, stuff like that. As for the constellation myth, it's the biggest myth associated with it is the Namian Lion, obviously, or of course, the Namian Lion from one of the first, I think the first 12 labors of Hercules, where he had to kill the Namian Lion, whose hide was impenetrable by any form of weapon. So Hercules ended up picking it up and strangling it with his arms, and then he somehow managed to cut this impenetrable hide enough to skin the lion and then wear it as armor. Okay, you managed to cut the impenetrable hide after the lion was dead. Myths. Anyway, so again, with a little bit of that protection aspect right there of the fierce lion, the warrior that defeated it and conquered it, and of course the hide itself became protective armor. So we've got that protection aspect right there, and then the constellation itself being associated with the Nile, flooding, summer solstice, fertility, yada yada yada. I'm not getting into the magic of it because Alright, so the stone, air quotes, we are looking at today is, as I kind of hinted at earlier, amber, which is not really a stone, as most people know by now. I'd assume so. Maybe not everybody, but, not everybody cares about stones that much. I like them because they're pretty and they do give me energies and stuff, but I'm not in depth on them. Not a geologist. Amber is actually a fossilized tree resin. So most amber came from trees millions of years old that fossilized. They still find ancient ancient bugs inside resin, and they like to use those to I think they've recently found actual DNA of some sort of creature fossilized in amber, and they might be trying to regrow it. I forget what it was. Something I heard in passing, so don't quote me on it, because I don't remember for sure. But anyway, once you fossilize an amber, you're pretty much stuck there until they melt it. It's a stone that is good for grounding higher energies, so you're up there in the spirits, you've just been doing major meditation, astral travel, you're feeling really high up out there, just light and loving area, but you gotta get back down to earth. So before you grab your obsidian, which will just suddenly freaking drop you, you gotta start with the amber and just use it to kind of bring all those sunny light energies down into, get grounded, because it is a golden stone, so it's associated with the sun, with light, with higher energies, but because it's a tree resin and it's so therefore strongly associated with the earth, it helps bring that sunlight down. Think of like a tree, how it brings sunlight from up in the air and brings it down to actually create food with it. So amber is able to kind of just bring everything down, ground it down in, bring it down to earth. It is a powerful healer and cleanser. Again, all that light. And what it does is it draws dis-ease from the body and promotes tissue regeneration, apparently. Again, not medical advice. I have no proof of any of this, so you do you. Within reason, preferably. Use some common sense, people. Don't eat amber or something. I don't. Somebody's probably gonna. Don't eat amber. You don't know what's in it. Nobody knows what's in it besides ancient tree sap that could be who knows what. Don't eat it. Just putting that out there just in case. It helps transform negative energies into positive forces to help stimulate the body to heal itself. It's a powerful protector. Yeah, because, takes this resin, it fossilizes it. Now hard-ass stone, basically. So, protective, yeah. Um, do-do-do-do-do. It helps link the everyday self, the everyday physical self, to higher spiritual reality, and it brings stability and motivation to life psychologically. So it's like not feeling, you kind of feeling, grab some amber, but you really want to like actually get your mind focused on something, bring it to do something. Grab a piece of amber and help, like, hey, help me focus, give me some motivation to actually go do this thing. Just help me with energy wise. Ask your amber to help you do that, and it's like it can do that. It will do that. It just kind of brings in a warm, stable sunlight. So that's, and again, it's associated with Leo. And I was like, you know what, amber's just freaking perfect for this. It's just like such a good warm honey stone. It's just golden, and again, that honey, middle of summer. Come on, people. Could you get more obvious? Yeah, amber. I've got a couple pieces. The first piece of amber I ever picked up, I immediately felt a movement in my solar plexus chakra. Like just this whole band right around my breast, underneath my breastbone, like right the very bottom of my rib, or not quite the bottom of my rib cage, but just right underneath the breast. It's like breast area. It's just like, just lit up warm, and I'm like, damn. I like amber. I've got like 3 pieces now, 2 or 3. Either way, it's such a nice warm stone. Yeah, I think I've got 3. It's awesome. I love it. It's like honey. It reminds me of honey. Just feeling wise, it just reminds me of honey. It's awesome. All right, so, and the herb we are going into today is cinnamon, because I can. So, safety notes. Cinnamon can be deadly if you ingest too much of it at once. I mean, most things can, but cinnamon is, use a little, not a lot. Spread it out, dilute it if you're using a lot. That's why in baking it's used with many other things, and they don't actually require too much. It is a hot herb, quote, which is a hot herb, which means it stimulates things, gives fire energy. It is associated with fire. It's a, air quote, masculine herb, which just means it's a little bit more fiery, a little bit more aggressive, a little bit more day inhale. It's like energized, active. It's a more active herb, or a spice more specifically. Or cinnamon is a spice. Cinnamon. To continue with the tree theme, now that I think about it, cinnamon is actually the bark from a tree. So, this was not intentional. I just remembered this, like, as I was saying it. I was like, oh my god, I've continued the tree theme. We started with the resin that turned into a stone, and now we've got the bark that is a spice/herb. Okay, so we're doing a lot of trees today. Which, again, connection with the sun, because trees eat sunlight. Motherfucker, I swear I didn't plan this. What the fuck? God damn. Whatever. It's cool. I do like, it throws me for a fucking loop, but once I recognize it, I'm like, what the I love it. This is why I never want this sort of stuff to stop. It's magic. It's magic. Hey. Anyway, again, it's a strong, active solar herb. It's ruled by the sun and fire, obviously hot herb, sunny herb. It's some of the deities, a couple of deities associated with cinnamon are Venus and Aphrodite, and yes, that's all I wrote down because I was just going out of Scott Cunningham instead of looking at more and more of this because I'm not this deep into it. I'm a kitchen witch, not a green witch. No, I mean, it kind of falls under a subcategory. It is kitchen is a subcategory of green witch, so I probably should look more into this, but when I'm trying to write this all in one day, which I really shouldn't, but that's all the time I have, that's all I get into. And maybe eventually I'll go back over some of these older herbs and be like, you know what, I can dive more into this. Because why the fuck not? I can keep this going as long as I want to, so. Now if I have no watchers, that's Oh well, that's for me. Anyway, so cinnamon, Recommended, don't eat too much if you're pregnant. How did I not write down any of the warnings on this? I just read them. Okay, good thing to know is because cinnamon can be toxic is don't eat a lot of it at once, like I said. Let me do this. Warnings about cinnamon. Okay, so side effects. Too much cinnamon. You know what? Let's do cassia cinnamon, Ceylon cinnamon. 7 side effects, 12 side effects, 6 side effects. Would you just pick a number? Okay. So cassia cinnamon is most common type. Ceylon cinnamon is from Sri Lanka and is also known as true cinnamon. It's the healthiest type of cinnamon and more expensive. So the main difference between these two types of cinnamon is the presence of coumarin used for flavor. Cassia cinnamon contains about 7 to 18 milligrams. Cassia cinnamon contains a coumarin about 7 to 18 milligrams per teaspoon, and Ceylon cinnamon does not. Research has shown that some people are sensitive to high doses of coumarin, suggesting it could cause liver damage. So coumarin is specifically in cassia cinnamon, which is the most common form of cinnamon we find in stores. If you're drinking tea with cinnamon or taking cinnamon capsules, make sure you know which kind of cinnamon you have. Coumarin may be dangerous to someone taking high doses. To avoid an excessive dose of coumarin, adults shouldn't consume more than 1 teaspoon of cassia cinnamon per day, as it may cause or exacerbate already existing liver problems. So it can cause liver damage from too much coumarin. Low blood sugar, because one of the benefits is that it can help to regulate blood sugar, but if too much can drop your blood sugar too low, which can cause dizziness, fatigue, shakiness, and anxiety. So talk to your doctor. Some people are allergic to cinnamon. I've known 2 so far. 3? 2. Yeah. Might interact with your medications. Obviously, anything can interact with them, but especially herbal supplements, so talk to your doctor. Talk to your doctor. Ask them to do research. Come into them with a ton of research that you've done. Even. So those are some of the safety precautions. Now, some of the health benefits of it is can reduce inflammation, which has the added benefit of relieving soreness and pain. This is all just physical, non-magical shit. Has more antioxidant activity than both oregano and garlic. Ooh, no wonder I keep eating so much cinnamon. Antioxidants help protect your body by lowering the impact of oxidative damage from free radicals in your cells. Yes, the oxygen you breathe is killing you. Welcome to life. It's been shown to improve insulin sensitivity in muscle and fat tissues, increase the uptake of glucose, and improve glycogen synthesis in the liver, making it easier for the body to regulate blood sugar in people with type 2 diabetes. Talk to your doctor. There are some studies that indicate cinnamon might help prevent Alzheimer's disease. There's a lot of things that could help prevent it, including some of the things you can just do mental exercise-wise. Look that up if you're curious. Alright, you have Google. Use it. I'm tired of being the Google oracle around here. Some compounds of cinnamon might slow down the growth of cancerous cells. Some compounds. So not cinnamon itself. Parts of the minerals in cinnamon, not cinnamon as a whole. You can sprinkle it on food, make a tea, take a capsule, or swallow it with honey. You know, you can actually create, like, if you decide to make your own honeys, or if you can find honey online even, you can put honey or cinnamon in honey, mix it all up, and then you have a cinnamon honey. It's just as good as cinnamon sugar, maybe even better. Because for one thing, whereas with cinnamon sugar, if you sprinkle it on toast, you gotta sprinkle it on, and then you've still got some loose stuff that you might have to shake off or try to eat without getting it all over yourself. But you don't have that problem with cinnamon honey because you can just spread that on there and it all sticks on. and you don't have to shake anything off, and it's delicious. Just as delicious. It's still sugar, and it's still cinnamon, but it's not as much trouble as cinnamon sugar. I am really, really, really fucking hyper. Alright, so that's some of the physiological benefits and dangers of cinnamon. Always be careful and talk to your doctor about most of if you try to use it as a health supplement. If you're just drinking as kind of tea to give you a little bit of a boost, or just kind of, or for magical purposes, all of these herbs are fair and well enough. If you're worried about any of them, like if you're taking like major medications, especially for like mental health, like for example, I take antidepressants, and so I avoid St. John's wort because I have heard that St. John's wort, even though it in itself is an antidepressant, to people on medical antidepressants, especially SSRIs, it can actually fuck with those medications and make depression worse. So I avoid St. John's wort for the most part. Well, pretty much at all costs, because unless it's something very small, like in like a tea, if it's in a tea blend with something else and I'm just doing a couple of cups, I'm not going to worry about it. But I'm not going to take it like a regular supplement unless I decide to talk to my doctor, like, hey, can I try this to kind of help? And that's going to be like, you work with your psychiatrist to really work with adjusting doses and shit. So if you decide to take cinnamon to kind of like, say, help with type 2 diabetes or something, talk to your doc first. Just a little bit here and there, like regular food-wise stuff, not a big deal. If you're trying to take it as an actual supplement with all herbs, always, always, always talk to somebody who knows shit. Talk to a certified herbalist and your doctor. Get them to talk to each other. Actually, hey, I want to take this stuff. You talk to your herbalist about all the possibilities you could do. You take that list. You don't do any of the shit on it. You take that list and all that information to your doctor, to your psychologist, or to your psychiatrist, to your MD, and you give them all the information so they can list it. And if they want to talk to your herbalist, or if they know somebody who is a homeopathic or naturopathic practitioner, they can go talk to them. They can even maybe recommend you to somebody they know, because they're like, I know you know this person, but I know this person and this one's a little hinky, or they might most likely be able to be willing to work with who you know, so long as they're constantly talking to each other, so they can kind of get a good back and forth of medical stuff. Because most doctors nowadays actually are, because of more and more of the research coming out with actual herbs and stuff, and we don't have to dilute it down to these pills. We can maybe there might be benefits to taking the full herb as opposed to just these small little chemical compounds of it taken out of it. So they're more willing to work with like naturopaths and homeopathic medicine and shit. So just talk to your doctor if you're interested. Anyway, with all that said, let's move on to the part I actually give a shit about, and that's the magical part. The uses of cinnamon in magic are spirituality, success, healing power, not healing power, healing, power, psychic powers, lust, protection, and love. So those are all some of his abilities. So again, with that protective, because it is a fire herb. Strength, it's a fire herb. It's associated with the sun. Success, again, sun. Good luck. Healing. Apollo is the sun god, also known as the god of healing and plagues. So it's got some of that healing power. Plus, we're just looking at some of the medical benefits. Anti-inflammatory. Yeah, that's kind of healing. Power and strength. Spirituality. Well, that's because I think that's mostly because it was used in temples in ancient days, and probably still is. It's just got kind of that nice aroma of just warm cinnamon. Yeah. Psychic powers. let me know if you ever decide to use cinnamon to try to up your psychic powers. I'd assume it'd probably be more along the lines of kind of a strengthening for other stuff you'd use to try to enhance psychic powers. I mean, it is associated with trees and with earth, so maybe a little bit, but it's probably, I don't see it as one of its primary objectives, just kind of another side thing it's got. Uses love. Yeah, it is a warm herb. Eye wiggle. Eyebrow wiggle. I can't really do that, though. And, I mean, two of the main deities associated with it, according to Scott Cunningham, are Venus and Aphrodite, the love goddess, a couple of love goddesses. Yeah, I'd assume it's associated with love and lust. Especially lust. How it was often used as... It was used as an anointing oil by Hebrews, mummification oil by Egyptians, and the leaves were woven into wreaths to decorate temples by the Romans. Aids in healing, raising high spiritual vibrations, draws money in, stimulates psychic powers. Okay, so it's a stimulant. I did not read far enough ahead. And it produces protective vibrations because it's fiery. Used as an incense, in infusion, and in infusions and in sachets. So that is everything I have for today, or for this episode. Man, I need to ground myself down a little bit. Damn, I get hyper during this. But anyway, so that is Leo, Amber, and Cinnamon. So, all the usual shit. Like, comment, subscribe here on YouTube. Find me on Facebook. Follow me there at Bags and Omens. You can email me at bagsandomens@gmail.com. Links down below. I have a Patreon if you feel like throwing money at me, which is cool. I do on Patreon, so far all I really do is I upload, when I finish these videos and I've got them like scheduled in YouTube, I'll upload them all to my Patreon so basically you get early access. That's about it right now, because that's all I can do right now, because I've got a very, 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 very busy life at the moment. Yeah. Anyway, you know where to find me. Have a great rest of your whatever, and we will see you next week with justice. Dun dun dun. Bye.